What you see on YouTube, we're back again with another gym breakdown today. But the thing is about today is a special day. I literally just got home from the gym. We actually make a PR on incline dumbbell press. So big it up. We actually do 105 dumbbell press. I didn't do it by myself to say, well, I couldn't get it up by myself. That was the only thing. But once I get it up, I started pumping. So let me just go through the motions. I did go in the gym at the height of people being there. Like I wanted to be overstimulated. I wanted to be, like blood pumping. I watched a lot of Diamond gym videos before I went in the gym, and I feel like that contribute to the anxious heart beating feeling I was getting while I was driving to the gym. I know I was going to do big weights. I tell myself I was going to do 105 because I did 100 about 3 days ago, and the 100 feel good. So I wanted to go into a different caliber this rungs, which was for me 105. I mean, there are people out here doing 125, Hey, one day we go reach there, all right? I know 105 is probably nothing special, but for me, that is crazy, right? So, it are real people in the gym. I put on my little music, I put on my wrist straps, I get one of my partners to give me a lift off, and let me just see how it goes, right? I apologize for the angle though, right? I know the angle kind of terrible because the gym was so packed. I needed to record where people are wrong, man, and that was hard, Let's go. So we get it up. Half the work done. I know I'm not coming down like deep enough to really work, but hey, I was doing 105. I never do it before. So it was kind of like adrenaline, like ego. It was kind of like an ego lift. I can't lie, right? And I even counting. I don't know how much I reach. I think I get like 6 or 7. Right. Immediately after this, I went into a drop set. But for some reason, I'd forget to press record. So I only got, you could see the 100 pound on the ground there. I did 7 with the 100, a solid 7. But I didn't, I don't know why. I either didn't press record or somebody pressed it and stopped my recording. So this when I went down to 80. So I do 100 and then I would drop to 80. Alright. The 80, I didn't need no lift off or nothing. The 80 was quite doable, What you'd want to do, if you want to really grow your chest and perfect this movement, you need to start doing incline dumbbell press and stop doing barbell. Barbell nice, yeah, but the amount of injuries you could get from barbell is crazy, right? You could tweak your shoulder, you could tear your pec, you could mash up something in your back. It could go pretty bad, which is why I kind of opted in for doing Smith machine incline press, but I didn't feel like I was reaching my ceiling, I feel like I was just lifting weights and, I know I had more in the tank. So, which is why I started to do incline dumbbell press, right? Obviously, it will be hard to do at first. Once you have a good form, you have a good spotter to get the weight up, because that is really half the battle, right? So you see, I throw up the 80 pretty easily, I bring in this one a little deeper. What you want to do as well is you don't want to keep your hand too far, like stationary outwards. You want to have a little twist in the wrist. So when you're coming down kind of like this, instead of being like this, right? You don't want to flare your elbows too much, in other words. You want to keep a kind of tuck on your elbows, but not too much. So immediately after I do the 80s, I drop to the 70s. But at that point, my arms, everything was done for, right? But the gym was full, everybody watching what I'm doing. So I was like, let me give them my next superset. And I'm really thankful that it had all them people in the gym, because if it didn't have all them people, I don't think I could have do 105 or 100 and then 80. I would not do it. Like I needed a little bit of overstimulation. Right? So this was kind of a perfect dumbbell incline press for me, mentally, and well, doing our PR, One thing I realize as well is seat placement is really important. You don't want to be too vertical or you don't want to be too flat. You want to have a balance. Like I kind of find a sweet spot, like right off of the flat, like that first stop on the seat. That is where I just kind of get my most strength while working the upper pec. If I was supposed to tell somebody how much to do, it's kind of like a feel thing, because I start with 30s, 35, I warm up. I do some flies with the 35s, and then I went straight into the 105. I didn't do much progressive overloading, right? I wanted to shock the muscle with maximum strength off the bat. That might lead to injuries, as I like to say, but for me personally, that was a good way to really test my strength fresh, if you understand what I mean. So I don't think you need to warm up too long where you compromise some of your stamina and strength. And when you're doing the weights, make sure you have a spotter, make sure they help you get it up, because getting it up kind of does deter people from wanting to lift heavy, right? But once you could, as Ronnie Coleman say, if you could lift it as lightweight, a kind of cool statement, but not true, but it's good for ego. I went directly into dumbbell flies. As you can see, the gym packed out. Like, watch my people that have in the gym, right? But being one of the strongest people in the gym, or like lifting so heavy, people watching you is like a crucial part of training, I would say, especially as men. Everybody want to be strong, everybody want to look good, right? So when you're in a gym, crowded gym, around 6:30, 4:30 to 6:30, like peak hours where people like to go in the gym, it is be a real eye opener when you could actually lift and show people, hey, that man, he's a serious lifter. Because the guy that spotted me right after I do my 105, he was like monster beast, you know what I mean? And that was kind of good, it make you feel like you accomplished something after working so hard in the gym. So I started with my 35s. Don't come around for the camera angle, because watch my people have in the gym. It packed, right? So I do my flies. When you're doing flies, you don't want to go too far out, and you don't want to have your arms straight. You want to have your arms at a little angle. I don't want to say 45 degrees, but because doing the flies, especially when you're going up in weights, is a hard workout with the dumbbells, right? And sometimes the deeper you go, like when you reach down, kind of picture your elbows trying to touch your lats. That's how I just picture it when I trying to get my maximum stretch, right? So I do 2 sets. I do a light set, which was with the 35, and then I went straight up to the 50s. I never did 50s on the flies yet, but I had to contribute doing the 50s to all the people being in the gym and the adrenaline, everything, Like, I was feeling unstoppable. Whatever weight I pick, whatever weight I choose to do for my set, I know I was going to do it, So it was really nice. It was really nice getting a kind of wake-up call when it comes to you're training all the time quietly, nobody around to see your progress. Now that everybody around seeing what's going on, it's like you're doing something good. So I try to get between 6 to 8 on the flies, because the flies are real hard to do with the dumbbell. I doesn't necessarily do it. Everybody does do pec deck or cable flies. And I just wanted to do dumbbell flies because the gym was crowded, one, and not to lose the amount of force I was done producing with the incline dumbbell press, So this is incline dumbbell flies. It kind of going hand in hand with keeping the blood in the chest for the pump. So as you can see, my last sets, I kind of started to bring my hand a little more at a 90-degree angle, because the weight was getting really heavy, you know. So I know I couldn't fly all the way. I started to kind of, I won't say halfway reps, but if you want to say halfway, all right. Back looking crazy, boy. Whoa. Incline cable flies, a variation. Usually people would do flat dumbbell press. Now, I don't necessarily like to focus on flat dumbbell or flat barbell, you know, because you hear this phrase already. Many people have an overdeveloped under chest than an overdeveloped upper chest, right? So, and for me personally, in terms of genetics, I find my upper chest should be crazier than it is, right? So I just work extensively hard on building my upper chest. That don't mean I would neglect doing lower chest or flat chest movements, but I just like to emphasize on upper chest, like where most of my strength or power I would go for a chest day. Obviously, top days I would opt in for going heavy on a flat, right? Like doing a 110 or 120 dumbbell on a flat, which is way easier than incline, right? But I just feel like everybody does be strong on the flat. So why would I want to be strong on the flat when incline is like the whoa, what he doing here? So when it comes to this particular workout, what I was picturing when I was doing my reps is keeping my wrist itself under my chest. So when I'm doing my flies, I started with flies and then I started to do a kind of press, but it's like a press flying from underneath your driving like that. Looking back at it now, the cable was kind of too high for getting it underneath properly, but I was such in a good groove with the flies, with the cable flies, I just went along with, kind of shoveling, trying to get my arms to raise, which was nice. And the gym was so packed I couldn't really focus on what to do, how to do it, as I was saying before. And then I went on to flat cable press, right? Instead of doing dumbbell press, I went to do flat cable press for my flat movement, right? What I like about this particular workout, it is constant tension on the chest. And for me personally, that does make so much of a difference when it comes to any pressing movement. So I think I went really heavy. Well, for me, that was heavy, which was around 47.5 on our side, So what you want to do is you want to put the cables to the lowest register, get a good grip, make sure your back not too far down on the bench, like you have to come up so your arms come in like below your nipple, like that is how I like to gauge it. And you're flying. Look at the chest. Look at the chest from this, And you see, I'm not getting as a deep stretch as I would like, right? But the constant tension, especially pulling and bringing that blood in on the chest, it was crazy, And I'm trying to hold and squeeze at the top of the movement, see how much I could actually control. When the weight get too heavy, I started to do a kind of diamond press, which was crazy. I tell you, if you do this, the feeling on your chest could be mad, right? So I locked my fingers together. The grip was basically on the bottom of my palm, which make it easy to drive give me a chance to drive. I think I do 2 sets with the heavy weight, and then I decided to do a drop set. Now that drop set mashed me up because I started back with the highest weight I do and it went downhill from there. But I think I get a lot with the first. So let me see. Right. So yeah, you want to focus on keeping your elbows under and your arms closing under your chest. That way you want to focus on when you're doing this particular exercise. Keep driving. It will be better if you keep your head back, but for some reason I like to put my head on my chest sometimes to feel the chest raise. It's make you feel like you're working. So yeah, end up doing that drop set. I'll drop one slot. I could only do one, At that point, this, personally, in my opinion, this harder than any flat press you would ever do because of the constant pull on the chest and the arms. After I do this, I started to do standing flies, but I didn't get a chance to record the standing flies I was doing, sadly, because the gym was so packed. I would definitely show you guys on the next chest day what I mean by standing flies. Everybody know what I mean. And I kind of finish on this incline chest press, but obviously with cables, right? I do 2 sets, but I make sure the most important set was a drop set. I started with 150 and I dropped incrementally. The good thing about this particular machine, once you bring the seat far up, like at the furthest you could come up, it has got a deep stretch, right? And you don't have to worry about nothing but driving, because the arms will naturally go in the motion of incline already. So for pretty much most of my lifting career, like in the earlies, this was a go-to machine for building strength before I moved on to dumbbells and Smith machine press. You know, this was staple. Obviously, it have a lot of other chest movements you could do on various chest days. This was just what I decided to do today. After I did that, I went straight into cardio, which is our on the Stairmaster, because as I say, we're trying to drop off a few pounds of fat, right? So I on the Stairmaster. Right after I did our on the Stairmaster, I went and do 100 push-ups, around 45 dips, and some pull-ups. I didn't count the pull-ups. It could be around the same number of dips and pull-ups, right? So what push-ups do now, it lock in the pump, which was really nice, especially when I went to watch myself in the mirror. It looked like a game changer in terms of pump, right? So this was kind of a short video. This was just to show you guys how to gauge doing chest days. You know, I would advise doing incline dumbbell press, like on any given chest day. Like it for me is the best movement you could do if you want to get a good chest. Like if you want to get separation and the shelf, I feel like that's the best workout you could kind of go to, other than cables. Like cables would be second, or like pec deck. Pec deck as well as a nice movement. I didn't do it today because I did so much with the cables. I didn't want to do pec deck and cables, you know, but you could do both, right? So this was basically just to show you the capabilities you could reach, or like the heights you could reach when it comes to putting in the work and actually trying when everybody watching, you know, because I don't think when you're in a packed gym, you know, because it always have monsters in a gym. Like it wouldn't have like the Ronnie Colemans or the Larry Wheels, but it would have people who doing some insane things. I was just glad to be that person today, because nobody does touch those weights. Those weights are just stay there for the real lifters, and it kind of feels good to, you know, be considered. I wouldn't say as a real lifter as yet, because it have a lot of things I didn't accomplish when it comes to lifting yet, but it feeling good to know you're on the right track, right? So for your next chest day, you should do these movements and see how it feels, and you'll let me know how your chest developed or didn't develop from doing these particular movements. So this was just short. I hope you guys learned something from this video and take something away that you could do in your own chest day. All right. So thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support. Peace out.